Okay. I would want to record this session, and so I've put in recording this session. So we've got pretty much people of all across India, from Bangalore, Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, Hyderabad, Pune, Nasik. Okay. All right. Okay. And we have Swati who joined us. Revant, where are you from?
Sir, I'm from Ghaziabad, near Delhi.
Okay. Hyderabad, right?
No, sir, Ghaziabad.
So sorry, you lost your one word.
Sir, Ghaziabad.
Ghaziabad. Okay, Revant is from Ghaziabad. Okay. And Swati, where are you from? Or is that, I don't know if that is mother's name. Okay, all right. So it's anyways 6:05, and first and foremost, let me welcome Sriya uh, for uh, for taking initiative and conducting this session. So welcome Shriya, welcome to Club 1729, and we are very happy to have you here. And Shriya is from US. Shriya, which city are you in right now?
I'm in 11th grade.
Okay, wonderful. And what time is it there?
It is 5:30 a.m.
It's 5:30 a.m. So you look at the passion. You know, she must have woken up at least an hour ago. It's 5:30 and prepared for this session. Yeah, and thank you so much, Shriya. We are so happy. We are so happy. Okay. And we have some wonderful audience as well. I can recognize few people, few children from our regular Club 1729. Some children are new that I see. Shriya is extremely passionate about mathematics. She runs a math circle, which is very similar to what we do at Club 1729. And she conducts all kind of these wonderful sessions where she brings about the beauty of maths. She kind of helps children to solve problems, think critically, think strategically, and so on. So Shriya, do you like, when did you fall in love with mathematics? Tell us a minute. Tell us about that.
Let's see. I don't remember what year it was. It might have been 3rd grade. I was solving this really complex problem. Well, it's complex at the time. I think it was like a systems of equations problem, and I got it right. And I was just like, really like this. So then I decided to continue it.
Wonderful. So standard 3 and solving problems of equations, I think that's pretty advanced. It's very advanced. Wonderful. And why do you like this subject? Why is this most interesting as a subject to you?
I think math is interesting because there's so much you can do with it, but at the same time, it's straightforward. So it's not confusing for the most part. It's just, there's so much you can do with it. The possibilities when you have math are endless, and just, I don't really know how else to describe it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, so maths to Shriya, maths is complex, but it's also straightforward in one way, and there are endless possibilities, right? Do you guys, all of you agree with that? All of you agree with that, or do you hate maths? I want a thumbs up those who love maths, and I want a thumbs down who hate maths. Okay, and let's be honest. It's okay to be honest, Okay, I'm getting some hands up. Okay, seriously, there's no one who hates maths. Okay, that's kind of surprising, huh? But it's also fun. Okay. So, okay, Ishwari says slow down. Ishwari, is my audio clear? Am I clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I think I'm getting impatient to listen to Shriya more and what she wants to share. So she's going to tell us some intelligent tricks, tips, or maybe attitude. I don't know. But I want to wait and I want to see what she has to share and learn from Shriya. So, okay, over to you, Shriya. And let me get my pen and paper and let's get started.
Okay.
Once again, welcome, Shriya,
Okay.
and we're happy to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Over to you, Shriya. I've made you the
Okay.
co-host, so over to you now.
All right, let's see. Gonna share my screen.
Yes.
All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, we can see you.
So, hi everyone. My name is Sriya Kalyan. I just realized I should have put my name on the slide, but I'm in 11th grade and I'm from California. So if you've heard of LA, that's where it is. I run another math circle that's similar to this called Agora Math Circle. And we have a whole YouTube channel so you guys can check it out. And I love math and computer science. And that's a picture of me from like 2 years ago. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about problem solving strategies. I think problem solving is important in math and any area in general because it teaches you how to approach problems and how to get them right. Because when we have a problem, we want to get them right. So when I've researched how to go about problem solving and my experience in the classroom, because I teach my own class, just anything in general, I've noticed that there are normally 4 steps to solving problems. The first step is reading the question. Then we choose a solution, we execute the solution, then we finally check our answer. So I'm going to go into depth for all of these steps. Let's get started. All right, so first we want to read the question. This sounds really obvious at first, but there's more to it. So we want to understand what the question is asking, because if we don't understand what the question is asking, we might get the problem wrong, or we might end up solving another problem. So it's always important to know what the problem is actually asking. Like if it's asking for apples or the number of apples in someone's car, we don't want to tell the person who's asking the question how many oranges we have. Don't want that. And we also want to underline important information. This is more for if you're doing math problems or any type of problems on paper. Underlining important information is a big part of reading the question because it helps reinforce the important parts and help you solve the problem quick. So let's go over what that looks like. So I found some problems from this international math competition called Math Kangaroo. So here's the first one. Matthias catches fish. If he had caught 3 times as many fish as he has actually caught, he would have 12 fish more. How many fish has he caught? So the first step is to underline important information. Not every part of the problem is important. You usually want to underline what the question is asking, important numbers, stuff like that. So I underlined 3 times as many fish, 12 fish more, and how many fish has he caught? Also, can you guys see my cursor that I'm moving here? Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
thank you. So I also wrote these down to reinforce it more. Underlining is fine. So these are the 3 things we pay attention to. 3 times as many fish, 12 fish more, and how many fish he has caught. So the next step is to choose a solution. We always start off by brainstorming possible solutions. Sometimes you might not even have more than one solution, but the first step is always brainstorming how you want to go about it instead of actually doing it. That way you have a plan in mind, and when you execute it, you can do it flawlessly. Sometimes you have to think outside the box for these solutions, and those questions that require you to think outside of the box become a lot more challenging. So I would say if you're struggling with brainstorming some solutions, just practice. Practice gives you that mindset that you can do it, and it gives you ideas of how to go about it. And it's also really helpful to talk to your friends who are your age. I wouldn't, you can also talk to teachers, but talking to friends reinforces concepts and see what they think. See if they have any ideas of how to go about it. And then you have to choose which solution you're actually doing. I like to go with the easiest because you always want to solve problems quickly and easily. Because if I have a problem, I have two solutions. One takes 30 seconds, one takes 10 minutes. I'm not going to want to do the 10-minute one unless I really want to learn how to do that. But if I'm doing it in like a competition setting or on a test, I'm going to want to do the 30-second solution. Or you do the one you're most comfortable with. Sometimes that's not the easiest way to do it. Sometimes when I'm solving a problem, I do things the long way because I know I will get it right and I'm more familiar with the concept. So it's really up to you which solution you use. So I have some possible solutions. So the first one is use an equation. Looking at your grade levels, some of you might not be too familiar with this. You can also try each answer choice. Trying each answer choice is usually something you can use as a last resort because you have your answer choices A, B, C, D, and E, and you know it's going to be one of them. So you can just use trial and error, which sometimes is the best way to do things. Really depends on the question. And finally, there's try random combinations. I know I said finally, but there's often more. Do you guys have any idea of any other solutions you can use?
Algebra.
Yeah, algebra works. Also, I don't think I can see people if they're like putting it in chat or raising their hand, so
Oh,
you guys
okay.
might just have to call them out.
Then division.
Division. You could see how that might work.
Value substitution from the options.
Substitution from the options, yeah. So there's lots of ways to do it. Like I said, sometimes there's only one way to do it, but for the most part, there's going to be multiple ways to do it. So I'm going to be using an equation because it's the quickest. You can use whichever one you want though. There's no wrong answer. Just going to make that clear. When you're choosing a solution, there's no wrong answer unless it gives you the wrong answer, but you do whichever one you want. Finally, there's executing the solution. So you've chosen a solution and you actually have to do it because if you don't do it, you don't get an answer. So here I executed my solution. So I said, let X be the number of fish that Matthias catches. So if he caught 3 times as many fish, which we got from the problem, so 3x is equal to, he would have 12 fish more, x plus 12. So I'm going to solve for x. So I get 2x equals 12, and then x is equal to 6. So that would be option B. So I just ran through that quickly because, yeah. All right, the final thing is checking your answer. So it's really important to double check your answer. I cannot stress this enough. Oftentimes when you're doing math problems, you might end up doing a calculation error, like you might say 4 plus 7 is 12 instead of 11. I've done that multiple times. It's normal for everyone. Careless mistakes, same thing. If you're forgetting a minus sign, or if you're adding instead of subtracting, these are always going to be common. And finally, writing numbers wrong. This may sound simple, but sometimes you can write a 5 instead of a 6. There's many things that you can miss, so it's important to double check your answer and double check your work. And trust me, if you see something wrong, don't worry, because it happens to everyone. I think the other day, in my computer science class, I said a pentagon had 6 sides instead of 5. So I want to make sure you're doing that right. So are there any questions? Oh, I have one more side on this problem. Okay, so I said that there were 6 fish caught, so that's option B. So I'm going to check if that's right. So there's 2 ways you can check if that's right. You can either check your work, so I can go over this equation and see that I did the math right, or I can work backwards. So I'm going to start off with saying that he caught 6 fish. And I'm going to see if I read this and if it fits into the problem. So he starts off with 6 fish. If he had caught 3 times as many fish as he actually caught, so I'm going to calculate how many is 3 times as many fish. That's 6 times 3, which is 18. And then the next part says he would have 12 fish more. So 18 is 12 more than its original 6 fish. So we know our answer is correct. I prefer to do this way over checking my work because oftentimes we have the mentality when we're doing a math problem, especially math, that our problem is correct. We often overlook our simple mistakes, like if I'm writing a 5 instead of a 6. So it's always best to use our answer and go backwards from there. And don't forget this step. It's probably the most important step because you want to make sure your answer is right. Are there any questions on this specific problem or anything I've discussed so far before we move on to some other practice problems?
No.
No.
Let me check chat real quick. No, it doesn't let me check chat. Okay, I'm gonna assume that there are no more questions. All right, so, oh, I have one more slide for before we get into practice problems. So, additional steps. So, I know I said at the beginning that there's 4 steps, but there are some things you can do after that that add on to problem solving. I think the 4 steps are the most important, but these are also good. So the first one is communication with others. So this includes your teachers, siblings, friends, classmates. This is important because sometimes they might go another way about solving the problem. They might have thought of an easier way or another way in general. Like someone said division, someone said checking the answer choices, someone said algebra. So you each have your own unique way about solving a problem. So I think communication is very important because you can also learn something that you didn't know before. And I'm pretty sure all my teachers have told me this, but you learn better if one of your friends are teaching you over a teacher teaching you because you make that personal connection with the person teaching you. So another thing is exploring the topic more. Sometimes, even if you get the answer right, you might want to explore the topic more to deepen your understanding. This, if it's geometry, you can look more into the shape they're asking about. This also encourages initiative, and initiative is important in math, in any school thing in general, or just life in general. Initiative is important. So exploring the topic is a really good resource, and it also expands your knowledge. Finally, trying other solutions. So if you're doing this in a competition, you're not going to want to try 3 different solutions at once, but afterwards, when you're not being timed or when you have free time, it's always really helpful to try the other solutions. That way, if there's another way to go about it, you know how to do it. Sometimes you might see that one method is easier than another. For example, checking each answer choice might be easier for you than algebra. So there's a lot of things you can learn from trying the other solutions. And I think the biggest takeaway in general from trying other solutions is that you get practice doing math. In math, people often get discouraged because it's hard. And I agree, math is hard, and there have been times where I have not liked it at all. So if you're normally one who loves math and there are some things you don't understand, that's fine. Math is best done with practice, 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 because they're straightforward but complex topics. But if you practice and if you talk to people and understand it, will be so easy, and math is so fun. So yeah. All right. So I have some problems for you guys. Let's do this one first. This one's more logic than math, but I think logic is an important part of math. because it helps you think critically, and it's just a good skill to have. So I'm gonna give you guys, let's say, 3 minutes to do this one. If you need more time, we can do that. So I'm gonna set a 3-minute timer and I'm gonna stop talking so you guys can get started.
I have a small question.
Yeah, what's up?
After we finish the question, exactly where are we supposed to put the answer again?
Oh, just keep it to yourself. You don't need to share it with anyone because we'll go over the answer. I just want you guys to see what you guys do first, and then we can do it.
Okay. I guess I got the answer.
Mhm. Um, Honestly, I don't remember what answer I put off the top of my head, but we'll see if your answer is correct in a second.
Okay.
You guys have about a minute left.
I think the answer is E.
Don't share
I
your
got the
answer yet.
answer.
We'll see which one's the correct answer in a bit.
I got the answer.
Where do we share the answer?
Oh, don't share the answer. Just keep it to yourself. We'll go over it in a few seconds.
I got it.
Okay, so my timer just rang, so that's 3 minutes. Does anyone want more time before we get started on the solution?
No.
No? Okay. So let's see. I'm gonna have you guys start off by putting your answer in chat. You can privately message me or put it in the everyone chat, and let's see what everyone thinks.
Should we put the explanation also?
I think just the answer choice is fine. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of mix of choices. I see some A's, E's. I think I saw C, I saw D. So there's a lot of possibilities, and that's completely fine. Before we get into what the actual answer is, I just want to say something. If you got it wrong, don't be discouraged because it's a tricky question and you might have thought of a different way of doing that, and that's completely all right. So let's get into solving this using our 4-step solution. So the first step is to read the question. So the most important part, I would say, of this question is that they always lie. So we know that everything they're saying is a lie. Also, each of them picks a red or a green stone. So we're not going to end up with someone with a blue stone, red or green, nothing else. And then we have the statements themselves. So I didn't want to underline each of the statements individually because that's a lot of red. So I did a little box thing around it. Actually physically underlining stuff on a piece of paper is so helpful because it helps you remember what the important parts of the question are. You might not want to do it, but if you're struggling or if sometimes you get the question wrong because you've read it wrong, this is such a helpful strategy. So it's up to you if you use any of these tips I'm giving you, but this is just my personal experience and your experience may be different from mine. So it's completely fine. So they always lie. The statements themselves are important and the fact that it's a red or green stone. So there are a couple of possible solutions we can do. We can check each answer choice. We can do elimination, which works well with checking each answer choice, or we can just use the clues and work backwards. What did you guys do?
Using clues.
You can put it using the clues. You can put it in chat or say it out loud. Anything is fine.
Elimination. After two
Using elimination, yeah. Using the clues.
Elimination.
Did anyone
Using
use
options.
elimination?
The elimination method.
The clues.
Did anyone do did anyone do something that I didn't write on the one of these three?
I use the combination of using clues and elimination.
Oh, could you repeat that, please?
I use the combination.
I also went like from my answer. I also checked it backwards.
Checking is good. Good job. All right. So a lot of you use the clues, so that's what we'll do as well. And that's also what I wrote. So let's start with Carl because I think we can start off with him. So he said two of us have red stones. So that means there's either 0 or 1 red stone. That means there's no 2 red stones. And I think what many people might have gotten wrong on this is that they might have missed the always lie part. That's a big part, and it's completely fine if you guys miss that. It'll come with practice. So don't get discouraged. So we know that there's going to be 0 or 1 red stone.
I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah.
So it is saying always lie, but it is saying exactly 2 of us. So exactly 2, it has to be exactly opposite of that, right? Because they are always lying, you know.
So
Yeah,
it can be. Oh, continue.
Yeah, so exactly 2 means only 1. No, you cannot. Exactly 2 is will again be a lie, no?
Well, you can also do 0 stones because everyone can have 3, and that's still a lie if it says exactly 2. In this case, there was no 0 red stones, but I still think it's important to remember that there is still that possibility.
Okay, small question. What about the possibility where all 3 have red stones?
That also works, and I think I could have added that, but I didn't. So thank you for bringing that up. That's right. All 3 of them could have red stones. Yeah, you're right there. Okay.
No, how exactly 2 of us has red stone, so it cannot be red, no?
Could you repeat that?
Carl says exactly 2 of us have red stones, so all 3 cannot have red stones, no? Because Carl has said red, so it has to be green.
Well, Carl is not saying for himself, so we can't assume green yet, but there could be 3 red stones because exactly 2 means just 2. So there's still a possibility of 0, 1, or 3 red stones.
If there are 3 red stones, what Aaron says will be right, and also what Ben says. So it can't be that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But for now, we're just going to start with that there's 0, 1, or 3 redstones.
It can't be like.
We're going to ignore Ben and Aaron for now. We're going to come to them in a second.
It can't be that 3 of us have redstones because Aaron and Ben are also lying, and so don't have the same stone.
Yeah, that's right. But we're just going to get to that in a second because I want to start off with just Carl. We're going to ignore Ben and Aaron, and we're just going to go with Carl. So that way, because this step is important because we can see from the top and eliminate possible options from there. Like, we all know that 3 redstones is wrong, but it's still important to keep in mind that it could have been a possible solution. So, I know it's wrong, but we just have to keep in mind that there are more than one extra situation. Because if you have another problem, such as, I can't think of one off the top of my mind right now, but we'll get to why 3 is wrong, because all of you guys are right when you say that there's no chance for it to be 0 or 3 stones, but we're going to get to that right now. So I'm going to do Ben next. Ben says he has the same color as Carl. Since he says that he has the same color as Carl, that means they must have different colors. Same goes with Aaron. Aaron and Ben must have different colors because Aaron says he has the same as Ben's color. This means that Aaron and Carl have the same color, and Ben has one color. And so from here, we assign what color they have. Carl and Aaron, that's 2 people, and Ben is 1 person. And we know that there's not, Carl says exactly 2 of us have redstones. So that means Carl and Aaron can't have the redstone. So they have green and Ben has red. So that's how we know it's option A. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Sorry for the confusion about the 3 redstones, but I still think it's important to just know at the back of your mind that that could have been a possibility. All right. Checking your answer. So we're going to work backwards. So we're going to go off from Aaron's stone is green because that's option A, and we're going to see if all of these are true. So if Aaron's stone is green, Ben must have a red stone because he says, my stone has the same color as Ben's stone. If Ben has a red stone, Carl must have a green stone because Ben says, my stone has the same color as Carl's stone. And Carl says, exactly 2 of us have red stones. So that means there's only 1 red stone and our answer is correct. So this step, like I've said before, is really important because there might have been something you missed and checking your answer will catch what you have missed. Any questions on this problem before we go to our second and final problem?
No. It was pretty.
Yes, I have the question that.
Yes.
The answer is that Aaron's stone is green and there are like 2 red stones. So then Aaron's and Carl's stone should have
one
different
redstone.
colors. Yes, it is like red stones. It is false. Yes, I got it.
Okay. So are we good to move on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So here's another question. I'm going to give you guys another 3 minutes to do it. Once you get your answer, just hold on to it. We'll send our answers at the end. So don't share your answer yet. So you have 3 minutes. Go work now.
I got it.
You guys have less than a minute left.
Got it.
Excuse me,
Yeah?
I didn't get this problem. Like, what do we have to do?
Oh, so you're finding the area of the gray shaded triangle. So time's up, but you'll see how we do it in a second. And if you have questions on how we do it, we'll go over it, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so this one, there's a lot of things you guys could have gotten wrong. So let's start off by everyone sending your answer. Let's see what everyone thinks. So I'm seeing a lot of B's, some C's, D's. I think I saw an A. So we're having a lot of variety in our answers. I see some C's. All right, so let's get started on our, yes?
I don't understand this question.
Okay, we'll go over it and you can see how we solve the question and what the question is asking. And if you still have a question, feel free to ask, okay? Okay, so the first step is reading the question. So the most important takeaways are the diagram itself, because that's what we're finding the area of. They want to find the gray shaded area. So here we have white on the outside and gray on the inside. So we want to find what this gray area is, and that the sides are 2 centimeters long. So this is something people might have missed at first, and I know it's a common error, but some people assume that it's 1 centimeter long. So you want to make sure you're reading the question and underlining any key detail. So choose a solution. So first we can count up the squares that make up the quadrilateral. We can make an educated guess. We can split the shape up into smaller shapes, like these triangles. We can split them up. I don't really have a diagram for that. And we can find the area of each and then add them up. That's a popular solution. Or we can find the area of a rectangle around the shape and subtract. So that's the one I used. So that's one we'll go over. Which ones did you guys use?
Yeah, I use the rectangle.
I used a rectangle with a small hole in it for A.
Count up the area of the squares.
I just counted the number of squares and then multiplied by 4.
That works.
Count up the area of squares.
So counting is a solution that a lot of you are comfortable with, and that's completely all right. We want to do which one we're most comfortable with, because in a timed environment like a math competition or a test, it's important to make sure we're not stressing out over the solution and we know what we're doing. So if another solution works better for you, that's completely all right. If you're not doing the same thing as your friend, it's fine. You're fine. Okay, so I chose find the area of rectangle around shape and subtract. So this is what my solution looks like. I made a rectangle around our A, B, C, D. This is a quadrilateral, meaning it's 4 sides. And then I found the area of these white triangles right here and the square here. And then I subtracted from the triangle as a whole, from the rectangle as a whole. So this is like saying I start off with 10 apples and I take away 4 apples and give them to my friend. How many do I have left for me? So I'm taking a total, I'm taking away some, and then whatever's left over is what I have left. That might have been a really bad analogy, but that's how we're gonna do it. So this is what my thing looks like. So I gave each of these triangles a name. You don't have to. I did it so I can explain the solution more easily to you guys. So I started off by finding the total area. So I did a mix of counting and finding the area. So I'm going to start off with this giant rectangle. So this giant rectangle, when I count across, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares across. So that's going to be our length. You can also call it your width, but that's just going to be one side that's 7 across. So another thing that you might have missed in the problem is, let's go back. Each of the squares have sides 2 centimeters long. So if I have this as 7 boxes long, I know it's going to be 14 because 7 times 2 is 14. Make sure you're not using 7. And then if I count the height or another side length, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But each is 2 long, so it's going to be 5 times 2, which is 10. So now I have 2 side lengths, which are going to be 10 and 14. To find the area of a rectangle, we multiply our 2 side lengths, and so that's going to be 10 times 14, which is 140. All right, so let's move on to the area of triangle A. You can do this in any order you like. This is the first order that came to mind, so if you did something else, don't worry. So can someone tell me what the formula for finding the area of a triangle is?
Half into base is
Base into height.
So you're going to do half times base times height. So let's do that. So I'm going to use this side length as my height. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My base, or not, my height is going to be 14, not 7, because 2 centimeters long. Now let's count our base. We just have 1, so our base is going to be 2 centimeters. So we're going to do base times height, 14 times 2, divided by 2, or times 1/2. So that's 14. So we're going to repeat this for triangle B. If I count 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 8. 8 centimeters long, 4 squares long, 8 centimeters. And then the base is 1 square or 2 centimeters. So I'm going to do 8 times 2 divided by 2 is 8. Triangle C is 1, 2, 3 across, so that's going to be 6 centimeters times 2. 6 times 2 divided by 2 is 6. Triangle D is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, so 8 centimeters long, 8 centimeters high, and 1, 2, 3 squares, so 6 centimeters across. So 8 times 6 is 48, divided by 2 is 24. But we also have this extra square down here. So we're going to do 2 times 2, because what is the area of a square?
A square.
Side
It's just going to be
Square. 8 square.
Yeah, it's the side squared. So we're going to do 2 times 2, or 2 squared, which is 4. So now we have to find the area of the shaded area. So we're going to take our total area and we're going to subtract each of these values. So we're going to do 140 minus 14 minus 8 minus 6 minus 24 minus 4, and we get 84. So here are some ways that this could have gone wrong. I could have done the actual count. So I would have done like 7 instead of 14. I could have multiplied wrong, I could have divided wrong, I could have subtracted wrong. There's so many ways this could have gone wrong, so it's important to check your work. So, does anyone have questions about how we solved this problem?
No.
No. Understood.
No? Okay. So finally, check your answer. So for this one, there's not really a way that you can work backwards and check your answer. So the best way to go about checking your answer for this one is to double check your work. You want to check your multiplication, your division, your addition, your subtraction, because this is where most people miss something. Because I cannot count the number of times I've done 7 minus 4 is 2 instead of 3. It's really important to make sure you're adding. It sounds really simple, but it's really important to do this. And like I said, everyone makes these mistakes. And I'm sure even college professors or people who are working, everyone makes these mistakes. So if you see a mistake like this, don't be discouraged because it happens to everyone. So that's all I have for you today for my presentation. Thank you for listening. But are there any questions?
No, understood.
Did you guys enjoy that?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Shriya. I think this was fun. I learned a lot. And when I was a kid, I used to make a lot of errors and lot of these mistakes. So I think for me, the takeaway is that you got to double check. You have to, whatever way, like this problem you said, double check the calculations, double check your addition, multiplication. In the previous problem, double check it with by working it backwards. So I think that's wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Do we have any questions for Shriya?
You guys can ask me questions about math or what I just went over. Any questions you might have about me in general?
Yeah. Any questions? Yes, please go ahead. Any questions? If there are any parents, they would want to ask, please go ahead.
I joined a little bit late, so the introduction. So can you introduce yourself once again?
Yeah. So my name is Sriya Kalyan. I'm in 11th grade in California. I run this other math circle just like you guys are doing right now called Agora Math Circle. We have a YouTube channel so you guys can watch us teach you guys math. I really like math and computer science. I teach in my math circle high schoolers, so that's 9th to 12th grade for you guys. I teach them calculus, so that's what I personally am doing. So yeah, that's a little introduction about myself.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so what we're going to do is, even at Club 1729, if you would want to take up a session on any of the interesting topics, please go ahead and write to me or write to Arpita, and we'll actually help you to create the content, to help you to take the session. So, okay, but just as a disclaimer here, we did not help Shriya. She has done this all by herself, and she's done a wonderful job, Shriya. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're doing such an awesome work. I had a lot to learn from the session today. But those all of you who are listening and who would want to take up any sessions on any of the topics or any of the problems, feel free to write, and we will help you to take up the session. It would be wonderful. And don't be afraid, even if you make some mistakes in the process, it's okay. We'll always help, and that it's great fun to take the session. So Shia, how long have you been taking these maths sessions? How long has it been?
Like teaching?
Yes, like teaching.
Teaching probably 4 or 5 years maybe.
Wow. So this is when you were like 8 years, 9 years. Now you're 13 years. So
12-ish, 11, 12
12
years old. Yeah. I'm
Okay.
16 right now. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah. So that's pretty young age to start teaching. And has it helped you? Has teaching helped you?
Yes, definitely. I think teaching the concept, not just math, literally anything like biology, history, teaching it to a friend or to an adult is probably the best way to study, because that's when you see if you have a question on something or if you're missing something. Teaching is probably the best way to study, in my opinion.
Wonderful. That's nice. Okay, Ishwari, you've raised your hand. Go ahead. Go ahead. You want to ask something? You want to comment? Please go ahead.
Yeah. Ask to
Sorry, Ishwari, I can't. Or is it just my internet?
No,
Oh,
it's
I think it's just breaking up for me as well.
It's her internet.
Yes.
You can type your question in chat if you want.
Yeah.
It was very fun.
Thank you.
Thank you, Advait.
Come again once next time.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Surely we should plan some nice sessions with Sriya, and maybe some off the beat topics. So I don't know what's interesting. Maybe graph theory, maybe not. Something like that. We should plan a couple of sessions, Sriya.
Let's see. Ishwari asked, any tricks for least common multiple or highest common factor? Let's see. I mean, we did learn a trick, sorta, how to find highest common factor. I would say prime factorization. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. I don't know what you guys learned, but prime factorization of both really helps. I'm trying to think of what else I've done for those two specific concepts. Yeah, prime factorization and understanding how factors work and how factors work with numbers and their relationships. I think that is the best way to go about doing LCM and highest common factor. Sorry, I don't have a better answer for that, but.
And also Euclid's algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah, prime factorization is definitely useful. It's a useful skill to have for any type of problem. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. So let me not hold Sriya back. It's early morning. I don't know whether she wants to go back to bed or she, whatever during the day. Okay, so thank you so much, Sriya, once again, and we'll invite you. We look forward to some more interesting sessions from your side.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm gonna head out now, but I hope you all have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Yeah. For those who are okay, so Euclid and the Pascal group will continue our sessions next week. This was a bonus session. For the format group, I don't know how many of you are there. I can see some people. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, sir. Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Hi, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Bye, sir.